key to reversing your diabetes is in your refrigerator, but it's not food. Watch the shocking presentation banned by the mainstream media. Can you guess which of these ingredients reverses diabetes and high blood pressure? Is it chocolate, tomato ketchup, or stainless steel? If you need to regulate your blood pressure, your blood sugar, cholesterol, insulin resistance, and you want your body to automatically and healthily drop excess fat fast, then you'll be shocked to find out that right now you could be cured of virtually all your blood-related troubles thanks to one little-known, 100% digestible and natural element in the stainless steel of your refrigerator. I know it sounds hard to believe, and I was shocked when I discovered it. But there's legitimate scientific research from the National Center of Biotechnology Information that has finally surfaced, and it proves it. But this ingredient is not just in stainless steel. It's in nature all around us, and was originally discovered almost 300 years ago in a French laboratory study that has been buried for centuries, thanks to one devilish decision made by a multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical conglomerate. They knew about this. But instead of doing the right thing and revealing this proven fix for irregular blood pressure and blood sugar levels, they decided to hide the information and continue profiting off selling their chemical-filled pills and potions. The same pills and potions the doctors prescribed for my beautiful beloved wife as her health spiraled out of control until she was a shell of her former self, hooked up to hospital hoses, medical contraptions, and laid comatose with the threat of amputation looming over her. After seeing how this one all-natural ingredient miraculously saved her life and limbs, I can tell you from first-hand experience, and now with scientific facts, that any other mainstream method of fighting with blood health issues is simply a fool's errand and will do you more harm than good. Listen to my story and look at the proof I've laid out for you in the next 3.5 minutes and decide for yourself what's true. It will be the best time investment you can make in your health this year. My name is Brandon Jacoby, and my story begins at the foot of my wife's hospital bed. The doctors said they would have to amputate her legs if we didn't do something, or my wife would not see her next birthday. Considering there are 6 diabetes deaths per minute and diabetes is the 7th leading cause of death in the United States, I knew we didn't have much time. The prescription medications she was taking were slowly killing her with side effects and barely helped her blood sugar or her blood pressure. She was getting rashes, her kidneys were failing, her legs were swelling, and the weight gain was unbearable for her. I had my back against the wall, and the woman I loved, the mother of our children, was what I was fighting for. So I set on a path to uncover the truth about diabetes in an effort to save my wife's life, and I had no idea where to start. So I did what anyone else would do, I think. I went on to Google. In the dark corners of the search engine, I discovered a message board where people were discussing alternative methods for fixing diabetes. It was there that I found hope. And not just hope, but scientific studies that one person said were deliberately covered up by big pharmaceutical companies to hide the truth about diabetes treatment. It was both disturbing and encouraging. The research showed that the typical understanding of what causes diabetes is way off. That sugar and insulin production are not the root problem, but rather it's what the insulin makes your blood do to your body that causes the issues. According to this new information, the sugar and insulin in the blood were actually corroding the organs inside my wife. This corrosion happens to the organs much like an old box of screws rusts over time. In other words, diabetes is burning her insides from the inside out. The research went on to say that while many people think the only way to fix the problem is by reducing their sugar, there's another incredibly effective and easier way. Stop the corrosion. And for that, you don't need to look any further than the natural element known for hundreds of years to stop rust dead in its tracks. This element exists in nature and gives stainless steel its anti-corrosive shining finish. This element is called chromium, and according to double-blind studies I discovered on the site for the National Biotechnology Center of Information, it will decrease fasting glucose automatically, preventing the corrosion of the organs. And it has been documented to have these properties for almost 300 years. I was nervous about trying it, but it seemed to make sense. The research indicated there were just a handful of other ingredients that would help to make the chromium more effective. Things like vitamin C, vitamin E, juniper berries, white mulberry leaf, and more. I searched around for places to get these ingredients, and the prices were walloping. But this was my wife's life we were talking about, so I went ahead and purchased the best-in-class ingredients, spending hundreds of dollars in the process. Once I had the ingredients, I reached out to a group of professional researchers and laboratories located here in the USA so I knew I could trust them. A group called Pure Health Research. They'd already been working on a solution with chromium, and with our combined efforts, we developed what I hoped would be an antidote for my wife's condition. Within a few days, it was ready to try on my wife. So that night, as she laid in her hospital bed, I had her take the mixture. And I couldn't believe how quickly she responded to the treatment. Neither could the doctors. "This is unbelievable," they said. After running some brief tests, they concluded her blood vessels were returning back to their healthy size. For all intents and purposes, she was returning to health. I kept administering the treatment to her day after day, and we watched her numbers normalize, going from a dangerous 600 milligrams per DL to half that at 300 milligrams per DL, and then 150 milligrams per DL, and then finally 70 milligrams per DL. We were overjoyed. It was clear that this was working for her, and soon she would be able to return home and we would be able to carry on with our lives without having the death by diabetes looming over us. But the story was far from over. I had to figure out why the big pharma industry had never told anyone about this, and I had to know, would this work for other people too? I went online and I reached out to people suffering with diabetes and other blood troubles. I shared my story and I started assembling the same treatment I gave my wife and sending it out to them, and waited for responses. And one by one, more and more people confirmed that it was working. With each response, my desire to help more people grew. Eventually, the demand was so great, I and the good people at Pure Health Research made this available to the rest of the world. Because we knew that if this got out to the right people, it would change everything. Imagine whatever blood sugar troubles you face now disappearing almost overnight. No more pricking your finger and checking your levels constantly because you have the peace of mind that your blood sugar levels are being maintained and it's all natural. And knowing without the shadow of a doubt that you and your loved ones are safe from the high-priced medical bills and medication side effects that the big pharmaceutical industry wants to push on you. That's what this mixture offers, and now it's available to you. We call it blood sugar formula. When you start with the blood sugar formula, in a very short time, your blood pressure is going to be under your control.